On a Friday night taping of Real Time with Bill Maher, something unexpected happened. Bill Maher, Hollywood's favorite liberal, the king of political comedy, didn't just disagree with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, he called her out. Directly, calmly, and in front of millions. And what happened next left the internet buzzing, her supporters scrambling, and even some Democrats questioning, has AOC finally gone too far? It started when Maher played a clip of AOC speaking at a progressive town hall earlier that week. In it, she rattled off the usual talking points. This country was built on stolen land. Capitalism is exploitation. We are not free. We are barely surviving. The audience clapped. Twitter reposted it. TikTok turned it into a soundbite anthem. But Bill Maher, he wasn't buying the performance. He paused the video, turned to the camera and said, "I love this country. Imperfect, of course, but unlivable, oppressive, barely surviving. Come on, that's performative nonsense and it's getting old." And just like that, the tone shifted. Maher continued, not in a rage, not with cheap jokes, but with that cold surgical clarity that only comes with experience. He listed facts. He pointed out that AOC, at just 34, is one of the most powerful media figures in America, that she went from bartender to congresswoman in less than 2 years, that she's on the cover of Vanity Fair, Vogue, and Time magazine, and that she's built a political brand by trashing the very system that made her famous. She calls it broken, Maher said, but she's thriving in it. Then came the real kicker. Maher asked his panel, if America is so irredeemable, so unjust, why does the entire world still want to come here? Silence. Even the guests, usually more than happy to cheerlead for progressive causes, because Maher wasn't being mean. He wasn't even being political. He was being real. We have problems, he said, but let's not pretend we're North Korea. Let's not insult every immigrant who came here with nothing and built a life. And with that, the audience gave a rare mid-show applause. Not a cheer, not a whoop, but one of those slow, knowing claps that said, "You're not wrong." Still, the real drama wasn't what Maher said on the show. It was what happened after it aired, because AOC's team responded fast and hard. Within hours, her official account had reposted clips accusing Maher of minimizing systemic injustice, mocking marginalized voices, and lived experiences. But Maher never mocked her. He never dismissed her story. He simply asked the question no one on the left wants to answer anymore. Is criticism of America automatically activism, or is it just branding? Because let's face it, there's a difference between calling out real injustice and turning your entire political identity into a non-stop America bashing monologue. And Maher made it clear OC has crossed that line. He even pulled up a moment from one of her old Instagram lives where she claimed she didn't feel safe walking past cops. Maher's response: "Really, you're a sitting congresswoman. The Capitol Police protects you with more manpower than some entire towns. What exactly are you afraid of?" It was subtle.com, but devastating, and that's what makes it land harder. Because Maher isn't some Fox News talking head. He's not a Trump voter. He's not some MAGA Twitter bro. He's the guy who once called George Bush a war criminal and roasted the GOP for a decade. Straight. So when he calls out the left's favorite rising star, it's not partisan. It's not political theater. It's betrayal, to them at least. But to the rest of the country, it's refreshing. It's a reminder that you can be liberal without being delusional. And Maher's monologue proved something else too, something AOC and her media defenders don't want to admit. Most Americans are sick of being told they live in a nightmare. They know things aren't perfect. They know racism, poverty, inequality are real, but they also know progress is real, that millions have escaped poverty, that people of every race now serve in Congress, own businesses, and lead companies. And when someone like AOC, who's clearly benefited from the system, paints it as evil and oppressive, people notice it, feels fake, it feels insulting. And Bill Maher wasn't afraid to say it. Later in the episode, he doubled down. We don't need more nihilism, we need realism. Critique is healthy. Cynicism isn't. And just like that, he flipped the narrative. Suddenly, AOC wasn't the brave truth-teller. She was the privileged figure using victimhood as a platform. And Maher, he became the voice of the reasonable center again. The backlash was instant. Twitter exploded. Hashtag Bill Maher, hashtag AOC meltdown, hashtag Marv's AOC, all trending within hours. Progressive influencers demanded HBO cancel him. Media Matters accused him of platforming white fragility. But the funny thing, none of that changed the message. It only made more people curious. And the more they watched the clip, the more they agreed. He's not wrong. One viral comment said, "We need more liberals like this." In the days that followed, more mainstream voices quietly backed Maher. Journalists, former Obama staffers, even some left-leaning comedians. They didn't all say it out loud, but they agreed. AOC's routine was wearing thin, and Maher just exposed the performance. So what happens now? Will Maher face cancellation? Probably not. He's too smart, too seasoned, too established. Will AOC change her tune? Doubtful. Her brand is outrage. Without it, the spotlight fades. But one thing is clear. Something shifted that night. One calm takedown exposed how performative modern politics has become. And maybe just maybe the rest of America is finally tired. AOC meltdown. #MarV's AOC all trending within hours. Progressive influencers demanded HBO cancel him. Media Matters accused him of platforming white fragility. But the funny thing, none of that changed the message. It only made more people curious. And the more they watched the clip, the more they agreed. He's not wrong. One viral comment said, "We need more liberals like this." In the days that followed, more mainstream voices quietly backed Maher. Journalists, former Obama staffers, even some left-leaning comedians. They didn't all say it out loud, but they agreed. AOC's routine was wearing thin, and Maher just exposed the performance. So what happens now? Will Maher face cancellation? Probably not. He's too smart, too seasoned, too established. Will AOC change her tune? Doubtful. Her brand is outrage. Without it, the spotlight fades. But one thing is clear. Something shifted that night. One calm takedown exposed how performative modern politics has become. And maybe just maybe the rest of America is finally tired. As the aftershocks of Bill Maher's takedown continued to ripple, legacy media finally started to panic. They could ignore Tucker Carlson. They could dismiss conservative podcasts. They could even handle Joe Rogan's influence with carefully worded op-eds and fact-checks. But Bill Maher, he was one of them. HBO Hollywood coastal elite. He had been in the club for decades, and now he was breaking the script. Because Bill Maher wasn't just calling out AOC. He was calling out an entire industry of thought leaders who built their careers on outrage, grievance, and division, all under the branding of justice, and that made him dangerous. Suddenly, media outlets that used to champion Maher's wit and bravery were calling him outdated, out of touch, even borderline conservative. Why? Because he dared to challenge the orthodoxy. Because he reminded people that not every critique of America needs to sound like a revolution. Because he refused to toe the new progressive line, the one that says optimism is privilege and dissent is betrayal. But the problem for his critics, people weren't turning away, they were tuning in. Bill Maher's clip calling out AOC racked up millions of views within 72 hours, reposted, remixed, analyzed. It wasn't just a moment, it was a cultural marker. Because what Maher said, something that millions of Americans had been feeling for years, but were too afraid to say out loud. "I'm tired of pretending that loving this country makes me a villain." That one line, it became a movement. Memes, t-shirts, posts from small-town teachers, veterans, Uber drivers, college students, people from both sides of the aisle. People who were sick of the shame campaign, sick of being told that every institution is racist, that every success story is tainted, that every flag is a symbol of oppression. And AOC, she had no answer because her brand was built for applause, not accountability. Every criticism she faced up to now had come from the right, predictable, easily dismissed, politically convenient. But Maher was different. He came from the inside. He spoke their language, he knew the beats of their arguments, and still chose to walk away from them. And that betrayal, that's what shook the system. It wasn't just about AOC. It was about the machine behind her, the think pieces, the late-night hosts, the Twitter echo chambers, the TikTok influencers pretending to speak for the people while cashing checks from media companies. Maher didn't rage against it. He just exposed it. And in doing so, he forced America to confront a hard question. Are we actually trying to fix this country, or are we addicted to hating it? For many, it was the first time they'd asked themselves that, and the answer they found was uncomfortable, because it's easier to criticize than to build, easier to tear down than to improve, easier to brand yourself a victim than to act like a leader. AOC chose the easy path. He chose the truth. And in doing so, he reopened the door for a new kind of conversation, one that says, yes, we've made mistakes. Yes, injustice still exists, but we've also made progress. And you're not evil for being proud of that. That's not conservative. That's not liberal. That's real. And people are hungry for real. Because for too long, politics has been hijacked by content creators posing as leaders, people who measure impact not by policy passed, but by views gained and outrage farmed. Bill Maher broke that cycle. He reminded everyone that you don't need to shout to be heard. You don't need to hate America to want it to improve. And you don't need to cancel someone to prove your point. Sometimes, all you need is courage. Courage to stand up and say, enough. Enough with the endless doom. Enough with the performance. Activism. Enough with the idea that being angry is the same as being right. And maybe that's why Maher's moment with AOC matters more than anyone expected, because it wasn't just about her, it was about all of us. What kind of country do we want to be? One where every disagreement is war, or one where disagreement is allowed and encouraged without the threat of destruction? Bill Maher didn't destroy AOC. He didn't need to. He simply reminded us of the power of honest conversation, thoughtful criticism, and unapologetic truth. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what America needs right now.